was made between military and civilian infrastructure. The Terran response was cold, methodical, merciless. Some Sithari begged for peace. Others tried to flee, scattering into neutral systems, hiding in forgotten colonies. But humanity was relentless. They hunted across centuries, through wormholes, across dark nebulae. Human intelligence operatives infiltrated every port, every shadow market, every council, whispering of Vega before unleashing the assassins or the orbital strikes. And wherever they fled, the survivors carried the legend: Earth does not forget. Earth does not forgive. Earth's vengeance is infinite. The final silence. 200 years later, the Sithari were gone. Their language forgotten, their culture dust. What had been a proud empire became a whispered warning among the stars. New civilizations rose, studying ruins and shattered worlds, asking only one question: who destroyed them? The answer came only in hushed voices. Do not provoke Earth. Travelers told tales of the Sithari folly, of 12 hours of triumph that bought them centuries of annihilation. Merchants, smugglers, even pirates spoke of human fleets that still roamed the edge of known space, vast and silent, watching, waiting. It became law among younger empires. Never harm a human colony, never spill Terran blood without cause. For the vengeance of Earth, once awoken, never sleeps again. And so the galaxy carried the legend. The Sithari triumphed for hours. But Earth's vengeance, cold, infinite, and merciless, still echoes across centuries. The skies above Terran IV split with burning light. What had once been a quiet, thriving colony of farmers and scholars became an inferno within minutes. Orbital bombardments rained from above, glassing entire cities with cold precision. The alien fleet, the Kelrath Dominion, hovered in triumph, their warships painted in the blood-red banners of conquest. The humans below had no defenses worthy of note. Their meager planetary militia fell in minutes, their orbital station cut down before it even broadcasted a distress call. Families ran screaming into the tunnels, but the fire followed them there too. On the command deck of the Dominion's flagship, Admiral Tajir leaned back in his throne of alloy and bone, his mandibles clicking with smug satisfaction. "It is done," he declared to his officers. "The Terrans are fragile, their spirit, their pride, it shatters easily under true power. Another colony erased, another reminder that Earth is nothing but a myth they cling to." Cheers rose from the bridge crew. Laughter echoed as the colony's last transmissions were intercepted, pleas for mercy that would never be answered. The Kelrath broadcast their victory across the quadrant. They mocked humanity openly, their voices booming over every intercepted channel. Earth is weak. Their colonies fall like wheat before the scythe. Their people beg and cry, yet no avenger comes. Their time is over. The Dominion reigns. They celebrated loudly, too loudly. Hours of triumph. In the following hours, feasts were held aboard the warships. Music roared, alien drinks spilled across steel floors, and trophies, stolen artifacts from Terran IV, were displayed like cheap ornaments. "Look at them," one officer jeered, replaying the desperate images of fleeing colonists. "They scatter like insects when the flame comes. Where is their legendary resilience? Where are the armies Earth once promised?" Admiral Tajir raised his glass of burning ichor. "There are no armies, there is no vengeance. Humanity has gone soft, diluted by centuries of peace. They are prey dressed as people." The bridge erupted in cruel laughter. But not all joined in the mockery. A junior strategist, barely risen to her post, dared to speak, her crest lowered with unease. "Admiral, history warns otherwise. The Terrans once ended empires larger than ours. They fought wars not for years but for centuries, and always won. Tajir waved her concern away with a hiss. Ghost stories, outdated fables, we are the present, they are the past. Still, her words lingered, haunting the edges of the Admiral's mind. Unbeknownst to the Dominion, even as they drank and mocked, faint signals had already left the ruins of Terran IV. Whisper-thin distress calls, encrypted with codes long forgotten by most of the galaxy, had threaded themselves through dark channels, leaping from relay to relay until they reached one place no outsider dared to probe. Earth had heard. When silence breaks. At first there was nothing. The Dominion expected silence. No protests. No retaliation. The humans, they assumed, would mourn quietly and rebuild elsewhere, like ants rebuilding a nest after being kicked. But then came the silence that was too heavy, too deliberate. Kelrath raiding fleets reported that human shipping lanes had gone dark. Trading vessels vanished from the stars. Diplomatic channels closed. Known Terran outposts began sealing their space with an eerie efficiency. And then came the first whisper, a transmission, short, calm, unshakable. "You struck our children, we are coming." The words were repeated across hundreds of frequencies, always in the same tone, quiet, unbroken, and absolute. The Dominion laughed at first. Empty threats, they said, psychological warfare. But their laughter began to falter when massive subspace rifts opened on the edges of Kelrath-controlled space. Old shipyards, thought abandoned for centuries, roared back to life. Forgotten gates, once sealed, pulsed with energy. On the dark side of moons and inside hollowed asteroids, titans awoke. Dreadnoughts the size of cities tore free from their hidden docks. Their hulls bore markings from wars the galaxy had already forgotten. Some bore scars from battles older than the Dominion itself. They were not new ships. They were not experiments. They were the arsenal Earth had built in silence, stored in shadows, waiting for the day when patience must end. The hammer of Earth. The retaliation came not as a single strike, but as a storm stretching across the stars. Entire Dominion fleets, still celebrating, found themselves ambushed by swarms of Terran warships. These were not fragile civilian vessels. These were leviathans, battle cruisers bristling with rail cannons capable of piercing moons, carriers unleashing swarms of fighters faster than light, and silent hunter-killers armed with weapons that bent the fabric of space itself. The first Dominion fleet to face Earth's vengeance lasted 43 minutes. Not a single Kelrath vessel survived. Admiral Tajir, once smug, now stared at reports flooding in like blood on water. Entire sectors fell silent as Terran forces advanced. Their fleets moved with terrifying coordination, as though every ship were guided by a single, unyielding will. No speeches were given. No demands were made. Only one unbroken rhythm of destruction, colony for colony, station for station, world for world. It was not war, it was annihilation. The fire that burned for centuries. The Kelrath soon realized their mistake. They had assumed vengeance would be swift, perhaps a single reprisal raid. They never imagined humanity's response would last generations. Human fleets did not stop after reclaiming Terran IV. They did not halt when Dominion strongholds fell. They advanced deeper, striking at the heart of Kelrath space. Entire dynasties collapsed beneath the storm. And when the Dominion sued for peace, humanity did not answer. Every Kelrath archive that spoke of the Terran IV massacre was erased. Every planet that had cheered the destruction of human life was left in silence. Cities once full of mocking laughter now became dust drifting through void. Children of the Dominion grew up under the shadow of Earth's vengeance. Their schools did not teach ambition, only fear. Their leaders did not boast, only begged for time. And still the fleets came. For 100 years, then 2. For 3 centuries, humanity carried its vengeance forward, methodical and relentless. Not fueled by rage, but by memory. Every ship bore the names of the fallen colonies. Every missile carried the weight of 1,000 graves. The Kelrath Dominion ceased to exist, but Earth's war machine did not stop at their borders. It hunted down their allies, their collaborators, anyone who had laughed during those hours of triumph. The galaxy learned a truth it would never forget. Humanity's vengeance is not an explosion. It is a tide. Once released, it will not recede until every wound is answered. The silence after the storm. When at last the fleet slowed, the galaxy lay transformed. Stars that once bore the banners of the Kelrath now drifted empty, their world stripped of fire and voice. Survivors whispered to one another in the ruins. Their children grew up beneath a sky haunted by Terran warships that patrolled without mercy. No one spoke the words aloud, but the truth became law among every species that still clung to survival. Never provoke Earth again. Because Earth could wait, they could endure. They could watch in silence for decades, even centuries. But if you struck their people, if you dared harm even one child of humanity, their response would come. And it would last longer than your empire, longer than your memory. Their vengeance would outlive you. Their vengeance would echo until the stars themselves went cold. The skies above Kevali's prime burned red as the Vorthak armada descended. The planet was a peaceful human colony on the rim, no great fortress world, no military base, just farmland, research stations, and families. Yet to the Vorthak High Command, it was a message. Their warlord had declared humanity soft prey, a species grown complacent after its rise to interstellar trade. The colony was chosen as a demonstration of dominance. The alien warships didn't just conquer, they savored. From orbit, beams